What I'm about to tell you might piss off a lot of people, and it might sound weird coming from a former Buddhist monk, but I'm going to tell you that meditation, the thing that everybody tells you that you should do if you're anxious, is probably making you worse. And I don't mean a little bit worse. I mean, it might be training your brain to actually stay anxious on purpose every single time you sit down to do it. Now, before you click off this video, I'm not some random guy who read a few books about meditation. I spent 3.5 years living in a Zen monastery in Japan, waking up at 2 a.m., meditating up to 12 hours a day. And what I learned in the monastery completely destroyed everything I thought I knew about how to calm an anxious mind. But here's what's crazy. The thing that finally worked wasn't even about my mind at all. But I'll come back to that later on. First of all, let me ask you something. When you meditate, or try to, what actually happens? Now, I want you to be honest, because I already know the answer. You sit down, you close your eyes, and within about 4 seconds, your brain goes absolutely haywire, right? Thoughts everywhere. Worries about tomorrow, that thing you said 3 years ago, your heart rate's racing, and you're sat there thinking, I'm supposed to be relaxing. Why am I getting worse? And then you feel like a failure on top of your anxiety. Brilliant, right? So you got 2 for 1. And by the way, this is why up to 95% of people who download meditation apps actually quit using them after 30 days. This isn't me guessing, those are actual statistics. And it's not because people are lazy or because they lack discipline. It's because the thing they're being told to do is actually making them feel worse. I believe meditation in the West is being taught wrong and nobody's actually explaining why. So you try harder, you download another app, you grit your teeth, you try another guided meditation. And I know because I've done this so many times myself. It's usually some bloke with a calm voice and he tells you to simply observe your thoughts without judgment. Just watch them. Let them float by like clouds. And you think, mate, these aren't clouds. This is a hurricane. But you keep going, you want to do it right, so you sit there on your cushion squirming away because everybody tells you that this is what you're supposed to do, right? And they tell you that this is what works. Your therapist says it works, that podcast with Andrew Huberman tells you it works, so you must be the problem, right? You must be doing it wrong. But you're not doing it wrong. The meditation is actually wrong for you. And I'll tell you exactly why. But first you need to understand something about anxiety that almost nobody talks about. Where do you actually feel anxiety? Now, think about this for a second. When you're properly anxious, and I don't mean just a little bit nervous, I mean that full body, can't escape it, dread kind of feeling. Where does that actually live? In your chest, in your throat, behind your eyes, around your temples, maybe in your stomach, right? But mostly it's in your head. That's where the noise is. That's where all the spinning is. That's where you are when you have anxiety. Now hold that thought, because this is going to matter a lot in a minute. The type of meditation that most people in the West learn is mindfulness. And basically the core instruction is watch your thoughts, observe them, label them. Oh, that's worry. That's catastrophizing. Don't engage, just notice. And for some people, this is genuinely life-changing. I'm not trying to trash it entirely. But for anxious people, people who are already stuck up in their own heads, think about what you're actually being asked to do. You're already trapped in your own thinking. You already have a whirlwind of thoughts in your head. And now somebody's just told you to pay more attention up here. There's a saying in Zen which goes, you can't wash off blood with blood. And that means you can't calm an anxious mind with an anxious mind. Even Albert Einstein said something along similar lines when he said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So in other words, you can't use the thing that's broken to fix the thing that's broken. And yet that's exactly what you're doing every time you sit down and try to use your thinking to manage your thinking. And it gets worse because you're not just wasting your time. You're actually, and this bit took me years to understand, you're actually getting better at being anxious. You're practicing it. You're sitting there day after day, strengthening the exact neural pathways that say everything important happens in your head. Stay up here, pay attention up here. You're basically doing reps for anxiety. Okay, so remember earlier I said the thing that finally worked for me had nothing to do with the mind. Well, here's what I meant. But I need to explain it properly, because if I just tell you the technique without the context, you'll try it once, think it's too simple, and go back to your Headspace app. And that would be a waste of time. So stick with me here. When your nervous system is in fight or flight mode, when you're in that grip of anxiety, something happens in your body that most people never notice. Your energy starts rising. Your breath moves up into your chest. It gets shallow. Your awareness shoots up into your skull. Your shoulders creep up. Your jaw tightens. Everything goes up. This isn't some woo-woo energy thing. It's basic physiology. Your sympathetic nervous system is pulling everything upward because it's scanning for threats. It wants you in your head. It wants you thinking, analyzing, catastrophizing, because that's how it thinks it's going to keep you alive. So your attention goes up, your breathing goes up, your tension goes up, all the blood in your body goes up, which is why you get a red face. The heat goes up, which is why you start to get hot and you sweat. And then you sit down to meditate and someone says, observe your thoughts, which keeps your attention where? Up here, which is right where the anxiety is. Now, here's what people who are teaching meditation in the West don't seem to understand. And this is the thing that blew my mind when I was about 6 months into my monastic training in Japan. There's actually another far better place to put your attention, a place that anxiety can't reach. And I don't mean that poetically, I mean physiologically, neurologically. When you put your attention there, your nervous system has no choice but to downregulate. It's not optional, it's how the body actually works. And it's about 2 inches below your belly button. In Rinzai Zen, which is the lineage I trained in, it's called the tanden. Chinese Qigong and martial arts traditions call it the dantian. And in yoga, it's similar to the sacral chakra. But whatever you call it, it's all the same thing. It's a point in your abdomen, slightly inwards, just below your belly button, that's been used for thousands of years as an anchor for your attention. Not for your thoughts, but for your attention. And this is the difference that changes everything in Zen meditation. You don't sit there watching your thoughts. You don't observe them. You don't label them. You don't engage with them in any way. Instead, you take your attention, all of your attention, and you drop it out of your head, down through your chest, and into your lower belly. And you hold it there. Not gently, not vaguely, but with everything you've got. You breathe into that point, you concentrate there, and you keep coming back to it every single time your mind tries to pull you off somewhere else. And over time, something amazing happens that you won't believe until you feel it yourself. Your breathing drops without even trying. Your shoulders let go, your jaw unclenches, the noise in your head doesn't stop, but it gets quiet. It's like someone's turned the volume down because you've stopped feeding it the only thing it needs to survive, which is your attention. You haven't fought your thoughts. You haven't got entangled with them or wrestled them into submission. You haven't observed them like some detached scientist. You've just left the scene. You've gone elsewhere. You've gone below the storm, and your nervous system followed you there. And I remember the exact moment this clicked for me. It was about 6 months into training in Japan. I'd been sitting through some brutal meditation days, sometimes 12 hours or more, and I was doing everything I'd learned from the meditation apps before I went to Japan. I was watching my thoughts, trying to control my breathing, trying to be present, and I was getting absolutely lost. I was getting entangled in my own thoughts, and I was just going nowhere. And I found that I was becoming more and more anxious. Now, my teacher is a very fierce old Zen master, and he saw me struggling like this, and he just gave me one very simple instruction. He yelled at me one day, "Watch your tanden," and he pointed to his belly, and that was it. That was the whole instruction. And I remember thinking, it can't be that simple. There has to be something else I need to do. There has to be more to it, but there wasn't. And that single instruction over the next 3 years completely rewired my relationship with my nervous system and with my body. So here's what I want you to try. Sit down, spine straight, but not rigid. Keep your eyes slightly open, looking down about 45 degrees in front of you. Now put your attention in your lower belly. Imagine there's a warm, heavy ball sitting just below your belly button, and breathe into that space. Not into your chest, into your belly. And I want you to feel that expand. When thoughts come, and they absolutely will come, do not watch them. Don't observe them. Don't try to label them. Just come back to the tanden, come back to the belly again and again and again. And that's the whole thing. You're not training yourself to be a better thinker. You're training yourself to leave your head. You're building a new home base right below your belly button. And this is where you go to every time you feel anxious or you feel yourself getting carried away by thoughts. And the more you practice this, the more you're going to notice something very strange. You'll start dropping into that place even when you're not meditating. You'll do it in conversations, in meetings, when you're giving sales presentations, in those moments when your anxiety would normally hijack you. you'll feel your attention start to rise and you'll bring your energy back down. And when you do, the heat in your face will start to subside, your breathing will drop, the sweat won't be pouring from your brow. And this is what I teach every one of my coaching clients before we do anything else. Because the fact is, all of the cognitive work, the exposure challenges, the confidence training, none of it lands if your nervous system is still stuck in fight or flight and your attention is stuck up in your head. You have to come down first. You have to make your foundation in your tanden, and then we build from there. I know this might sound a little bit out there for some of you watching this video, so please drop me a comment and let me know your thoughts below.